Good morning. Welcome. Welcome. This is the Journey of Mela Lifestyle. My name is Camila Tibbetts. If you're just joining us, welcome. If this is your first time here, I know a lot of you have forwarded the IGTVs to friends or forwarded my handle to friends, and I love that. Thank you. So if you've taken that invitation and this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Camila Tibbetts. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and these are daily meditations that we do every morning, and it originally started as me wanting to share the moments, madness, and meditations of launching my website, Mela Lifestyle. And really, it's an online community and a lifestyle community where we curate products around the area of beauty, wellness, home, style. But above all that, it's really a place where people can come together and they can be fully known. And my heart in launching this brand and growing this community is that people can be known and feel like they can be who they are in the world. They can be that same person in their home, that your home can be a reflection of that. So these meditations originally started with me showing you and taking you behind the veil of what it's like to be an entrepreneur and what it's like to start something new. Because I've had businesses in the past, but this is new, and this is really a heart project for me. I don't want to say this is a mountain I want to die on, because this is a mountain I'm going to thrive. Hey, that's a word. This isn't the mountain I want to die on. This is a mountain I want to thrive on, but I feel like we can all do this together. So that's how this originally started. And when the website launched last November, by the way, thank you for your orders and your support. You guys DM'd me and said, we want to continue with these meditations. We want to continue coming together every morning. So this is what we're doing. So I always start out with the moments and madness of what's going on with Mela Lifestyle, or what's going on with me, because a lot of time a founder and a leader, it's very reflective of what's going on in your personal life and professional life, or there's usually a tension between the two. And in my experience, what I have found is that one always leads the other. It's definitely a dance, I would say. So what's going on? Okay, so basically, a lot of you have reached out and talked about you may be taking a break or a detox from social media and wanted to be able to access the meditations outside of Instagram, or you're not on Instagram, or whatever that is for you in terms of your own personal wellness with social media. I get it. We all have to take breaks sometimes. So the majority of, drum roll, the majority of the I don't know if that really was a drum roll. That was a click, click. But the majority of, to date, the majority of the meditations now are on YouTube. So I spent most of the day just uploading that. And sometimes you want to do things for yourself so you can learn. I have a team and I could have outsourced the task, but I took the time yesterday to really just upload everything, tag everything. So if you go to my YouTube, which is my name, Camila Tibbetts, which is up top on the Instagram on that upper left, you will find all the meditations from our day one. And so if you want to go back and look at those, or if you're going to take an Instagram break for the new year, whatever that looks like, you can go back and look at every meditation that we've done to date. And again, this is an area where you can be fully known and it can be reflective. So who you are in the world and who you are in your home, there's no tension between those two things. So that was the majority of the day, and it's moments, it's madness, but it's also a launch, right? A founder, these are the things that we don't have to do, we get to do as founders and as leaders. And when I say entrepreneur, when I say leader, it's anything that you're starting new, right? It's you can be leading your home, you could be leading your organization, you could be leading a study, you could be leading your cohort in graduate school, whatever that looks like for you. It still draws on a certain set of skill sets that we need to lead. So this week, we started to do a little series. Last week we did a series, it was great. And this week we started a new series. And our series this week is called The Expression. And so yesterday we talked about above it all, right? How we can survive and we can thrive above everything that's going on that we see. We can strive above that, right? And so living out the full expression of who we are everywhere we go. And the whole idea is that we want to finish 2020 strong so that we can launch into 2021 with the level of expectation. And it's okay to have that full expression of who you are. So if you missed that, you can go on my IGTV, you can go on YouTube. That will be up today, so you can see what we started on Monday. And so we'll do this series this week is the expression. So I always like to honor your time and give you your 2 meditations to just set you on your day. And remember, the meditations are for you. Like, a lot of people think that, oh, meditation is like sitting down quietly, and whatever that looks like for you. And what I'm really saying is, like, these are things that you can think about, right? Like, I'm giving you some wisdom, I'm giving you some tools, I'm giving you some keys, and these are things that you can think about. And what I found that has happened is that something will be reflective throughout the day that will confirm what because we're doing this together as a community, like something will be confirmed of what we're doing. So our first meditation this morning is movement is medicine. And what do I mean by that? So for me, we're all indoors. Like, exercise is a big part of my routine. It's a big part of my wellness. And I realize, like, when I get stuck, or sometimes what I call I'm swirling, like, movement and like exercise really clears me. And it's not so much for my body as it is for my mind. So when I get into movement, it's a friend of mine said, move a muscle, change a thought, right? So when I'm moving, and when I'm in that space and I'm clearing out everything, and I don't have time to focus on the what ifs, I don't have time to focus on the anxiety, right? And so that is another way of expressing, like, what is your full expression, and how do you do that through exercise or through activity? I have a friend, she's a dance instructor, and she uses movement as a form of healing, right? And so that is very much a part of her practice, the idea that through dance and through movement, there can be some healings, and we can align, like, what's going on in our mind and our heart and our body, like, those things can be aligned, through movement. So, sometimes, like, my mom used to say, you can make a way out of no way, but in order for us to make a way out of no way, we have to live out the full expression of who we are, and we live in that movement, right? And so expression can be movement, it can be dance, it can be exercise, it can be hiking through nature, and that's how we make a way. Like, we make a way and we go along the path by getting in motion, right? By getting into action and taking action. So when I think about that, I also think of, like, where are you seated, right? So when we think about, so expression can be movement, it can be dance, but it also can mean, like, where are you seated? And I was thinking about that. So there was when I used to interview applicants, I would have this thing that I would do, because I'm a pretty lighthearted person, but I'm very particular about certain things in terms of the team I'm building. And so I want to share this with you guys. So the person would come in, I would give them a tour of the company, and I would put 2 chairs in front of my desk, right? And so there would be, like, a really nice executive chair, right? Like a really nice chair, and then there would be, like, a standard chair. And so I would give the person a tour, and then I would, like, offer them some coffee, and then we would go into my office, and I would say, well, do you want to sit down, right? But I was like, and it was really interesting in terms of the applicant and the applicant's behavior. It was very telling. It wasn't a deal breaker, but it was very telling how they approached it, right? It would be the person that would say, where do you usually sit, or where do you want me to sit, right? That means someone that's open to suggestion, that's open to feedback, that's not about what's comfortable for them. And then there would be the people that are like, ooh, I'm gonna take the nice chair. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, okay, please take the nice chair, because that's a behavior, right? And so when you think about where you seated today, or also with my kids, particularly my son, right? Like, if you're at the dinner table, you're at the dinner table, everyone has a seat, right? Like, everyone has a place, and the head of the table, whatever that looks like in your home, it could be you, it could be your partner. It's like, my son will always be like, I want to sit at the head of the table. And sometimes it wasn't for some people it wasn't a big deal, but it is a big deal, right? Where we're seated and what our role is and how we see ourselves, that's a big deal. So this morning I'm asking you, like, where are you seated today, right? If we think about the full expression of who you are, where are you choosing to be seated, right? Are you choosing to be seated at like right now, my table in my home is a bistro table, so it's very round, right? But think about, like, where are you seated, and in that, wherever you're seated, like, how are you living out the full expression of who you are, right? Like, how are you living out the movement, and how is that movement medicine in your life? So that's number 1. Our first meditation this morning is movement is medicine. And our second meditation is pain becomes power. And I wanted to, I'm very intentional about what meditations I tie together. And so you're like, Camila, you're going from movement is medicine to pain becomes power. But like, when we think of pain, we always think of pain as like it's a blow, right? We always think like, I'm not in any pain because I'm not hurt, like I didn't have an attack. But sometimes pain can reveal itself in movement, like when you're trying to make a move, right? Or when you're trying to make a change, or when you're trying to do something different, and then you notice like something may come up, right? Like some people say like if it's hysterical, it's historical. And so for me, when I notice that, like when I'm noticing things are coming up for me, it's really an opportunity for me to look at like where do I still have some pain in this area, or like where am I still a little bruised or broken in this area, and in those moments, like we talk about like being in a valley and being on the mountain. So in those valley moments where I've had some pain, right, and I had to like make a way out of no way, and I had to like get into action and make movement, and I had to change my seat at times, right, and I had to humble myself, and I had to listen to authority, and I had to be, we talked yesterday about not being dragged but being led, right, and I realized like if I continue to live in this pain, I'm gonna be dragged into some really uncomfortable places. But if I choose to be led, right, and if I know that I can make a way out of no way, then my pain can become that power, right? And when you think about power, it's something that's really it fuels you, right? And it doesn't always have to be an intensity. Like everyone's always like, oh, you're so passionate. Like people try to use passion like it's like a sorry, not like, oh, you're so passionate. But I want to encourage you that in your movement, in you recognizing, in those quiet moments, we talked about like going to your secret place, like in your secret place where we're revealing and exposing the areas where we're bruised, the areas where we're still healed, the areas where we still like, we talked about breath, right? Like we still need that breath of healing and a promise and a peace over us, that area can fuel like a powerful moment. And going into 2021, we kind of want to pull the Band-Aid off, right? And we kind of be like, Camila, I don't want to look at this. Like I've already been through so much this year. Yeah, that's my point. You've already been through so much this year. And so let's look at what you've been through. Let's look at the areas that you still need to heal in what you've been through. And let's look at the areas that can fuel you into power. Because we will live again. So what do I mean by that? You're like, yes, you're living right now, but sometimes we think about, oh, I want to go to restaurants, I want to go out, I want to go see live music, I want to, I want to go shopping, I want to go on a plane, I want to go on holiday, like I want to do all those things. Those things will happen again. And when the opportunity comes for you to live out the full expression of who you are again, like, will you be ready? Like, will you be healed? Like, do you really want to go on your next holiday, like with some bruises of like what happened in 2020? Or do you want to have that restoration where you can like live it out? Because a lot of you, okay, I'll talk about myself and my own experience. I mean, there was a time in my life where I really felt like I had to play small. Like living out the full expression of who I was, like really made people uncomfortable, or living out the full expression of who I was, was challenging to the environments that I was in. And it wasn't until I made a move, right? It wasn't until like I really got clear of the areas where I was hurting, where I was bruised, that I thought, I don't need to play small anymore. Like I don't need to do something to make other people comfortable. That self-awareness and that realizing who you are, that can be a place of restoration, right? And so what are we really talking about here? We're talking about movement becomes medicine, like realizing where you're seated, exposing those areas where you still have, some hurt, some little bruises, like you're still a little prickly in this area. Like, let's talk about it, right? Let's expose it, because once we expose it, then it can be healed. Like once we expose it, then it can be restored. Once we expose it, then it can be used as power. Once we expose it, then it can be momentum and a launching place, right? And that's what we're getting to these last 3 weeks in December. I really want us as a community to go to a place where we can be launched into something greater. But in order for us to be launched in that power, we need to be restored, right? Like restoration doesn't come after we're launched, because there's a difference between climbing and there's a difference between climbing and elevation. what do I mean by that? Like there's something there's a lot I can do like by striving and I can make it happen through my own effort. But if I could sit back in the presence and in the comfort of who I really am, like completely Camila, like completely whole, completely big and powerful, and you too, then that's what's going to move us, and that's what elevates us to that next level. Like some things aren't going to happen just from pure effort. Some things happen from pure surrender, right? And so it's in that surrender, right? And surrender is a movement. Like you're like, oh, I got defeated, I surrender. Like I surrender, I got defeated. But there's power in that, like if you're taken captive. But there's also like a power in acknowledging your own surrender, right? Like and saying, I'm going to surrender to this, to what's going on right now because I can't control it, or I'm going to surrender to this authority because I know I need to know more, or I'm going to surrender to the fact that I'm really sick right now and I need to do some self-care. So that movement and that restoration, like it will launch us into 2021. So I want to thank you for joining me on the Journey of Mela Lifestyle. Like I mentioned, this is our week-long series of a full expression, and over again, we will come back every morning, and over again, we will have a meditation. Over and over again, we will be restored, and over again, like there will be promise for you in 2021. So again, thank you for joining me on the Journey of Mela Lifestyle. Ciao for now. Bye.